The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Spine Pain Management Year-End 2013 Investors Webinar Conference Call. Before we get started with our panelists, let me take a moment to familiarize new attendees to the webinar console. You should be seeing this if you're attending online. At any time, you can click on the arrow to the left of the console to hide it, but first be sure to click on either telephone if it's your intention to use the telephone in addition to viewing online, or mic and speakers if it's your desire to use your computer exclusively. This conference call is interactive, giving you the opportunity to pose questions. However, to do this, you must type in your question in the box that you see where it says enter a question for staff. You can use this box at any time during the presentation, but all questions will be held until the formal presentation is completed and the Q&A portion starts. Questions will be put in the queue and answered in the order received, though some repetitive questions may be eliminated. With this said, let me now turn over the call to John Bergeron, Spine Pain Management's Chief Financial Officer, to read the required disclosure statement and open the conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Art. This presentation includes forward-looking statements as determined by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. All statements other than statements of historical facts included in this presentation that address activities, events, or developments that the company believes or anticipates will or may occur in the future are forward-looking statements. Such forward-looking statements involve known and unknown risks, uncertainties, and other factors which may cause the actual results, performance, or achievements of the company to be materially different from any future results, performance, or achievements expressed or implied by such forward-looking statements. Such factors include general economic and business conditions, the ability to acquire and develop specific projects, the ability to fund operations, healthcare services demands, changes in healthcare practices, government regulation, and other factors over which the company has little or no control. The company does not intend and is not obligated to update publicly any forward-looking statements. The contents of this presentation shall be considered in conjunction with the warnings and cautionary statements contained in the company's recent filings with the SEC. Now back to Dr. Donovan.
Thank you, John. This is Dr. Bill Donovan. I want to thank everybody for taking time and effort to be part of this conference call. What John and I want to do today is to compare financial and development results from 2013 compared back to 2012, provide a corporate update, and discuss some recent changes to our development program. I would like to expedite this conference call and get to questions as soon as possible. I will have John present the numbers for review, and then I'll go into key developments and the status of affiliated groups and discuss opportunities for growth of the various clinics and give you an update on the Quad Video Halo development. As you can see, our mission, we deal with financial services and special technology with the affiliated doctors who treat liability spine injuries. The proprietary Halo technology basically provides true transparency for the procedures that have done. We've tested this now at 2 major trade shows, and there's been nobody else with a similar product, and the reception has been very good. All right, next slide. And once again, I'll just give you a quick picture of the Halo technology, and one can easily see how we have the transparency during the procedures. We'll go back to John Bergeron now to discuss the numbers. Next slide.
Thank you, Dr. Donovan. The net loss for the year ended December 31st, 2013 was $626,071, compared to a net loss of $430,218 for the year ended December 31st, 2012. Lower revenue, coupled with additional personnel and non-cash charges, such as interest costs for stock options stock warrants, resulting in bad debt expense, resulted in a net loss of 2013 2012. Non-cash charges in 2013 included $460,000 in bad debt expenses, $516,666 in stock-based compensation, $148,000 in interest expense related to warrant amortization, and $113,000 in accretion of long-term debt discount. Non-cash charges in 2012 included $240,000 in bad debt expenses, $474,084 in stock-based compensation, $168,408 in interest expense related to warrant amortization, and $41,678 in accretion of long-term debt discount, plus a litigation settlement of stock worth $326,650 in 2012. The company recorded $3.299928 in net revenues with $1,320,348 in costs and services, totaling a gross profit of $1,979,580 for the year ended December 31st, 2013. For the year ended December 31st, 2012, we recorded net revenues of $3,459,231 with $1,458,031 in cost of services, resulting in a gross profit of $1,990,500. Revenue was down in 2013 due to multiple factors.
We're sorry.
The company faced new competition in the McAllen and Florida locations, resulting in lower case volume. Additionally, in 2013, because of the low returns we have experienced in the cases of patients with minimal insurance coverage limits, the affiliated diagnostic centers performed fewer of the procedures on these patients. Now, if you'll go to page 7, you will see our balance sheet. The things I want to highlight on this is we have over $650,000 in cash. We have a current ratio of 4.6 to 1. Our total stockholders' equity is $5.586 million, and that turns out to be 30 cents per share for the shareholders' equity book value. We have a strong balance sheet. Now, if we could go to page 8, we'll see the snapshot. Basically, it lists out our diagnostic centers. We'll talk. Dr. Donovan will address this in just a minute. Our shareholders' equity is $5.6 million. Like I said, we have a positive working capital ratio of 4.6 to 1. We have net loss carryforwards of $5.8 million, and they expire from years 2018 to 2031. We have outstanding, waiting to settle, $13.8 million of gross receivables, which shows up on our financial statements as $6.8 million. We have about a $7.5 million market cap at 40 cents a share, and we approximately have 670 shareholders. Now that we have completed this, I would like to turn this back to Dr. Donovan. Doctor?
John, thank you very much. I just wanted to highlight some of the things from 2013. Our new center in San Antonio is doing very well. I want to compliment my staff because we've collected over $3 million in 2013, which is the total collections from the start of $8 million since we opened our first clinic. In 2013, we reduced our liabilities over $500,000, and we've settled by the year end on 13, 1,243 cases. Of particular interest is our distribution agreement with MedExchange. This is a Florida company that has FDA Class 1 product that fits with our quad video very, very well. It helps us simplify the process, and we've been using that now this year, which gives us a better quality 1080 image from which we then make our DVDs, which then become part of the medical records. We first showed the quad video in December at the RSNA in Chicago, and we had tremendous response, both from the U.S. and from international. International hospitals and doctors are really interested in the teaching aspects of the Halo, whereas the domestic are interested in how we use it and also teaching. So the RSNA really helped us start to focus certain aspects of the Quad Halo, but absolutely no one at this center and exhibit had anything close to what we have. Next slide. What we have here is we're talking about procedures, and the next slide is going to be collections. But if you remember, back in 2010, 2011, we felt that we can slowly keep increasing number of patients treated with procedures. At the end of 2013, we have, through our affiliated doctors, treated over 3,500 patients, which equals almost 6,400 procedures. So the growth has been nice. It's been steady. We were down in Q4 for reasons we'll discuss. However, next slide. We've been talking for several years about a snowball effect, next slide, on collections. And you can see, if you go back to 2011, the growth in collections was 2 million. Now, this is cumulative. You can see the arc curve, and it's gone up now to over 8 million. And we have to remember, we've settled 1,243 cases. We still have over 2,300 cases still open that's been provided funding. We've been saying over the last couple of years, the lost cases, that is, you settle a case and get no reimbursement, would be fairly small. Here, if you look at the bottom of the slide, in these 4 years, we've had only 66 cases that settled with no collection. So that's about 5% of the settled cases meant we received no collection at all. So we feel, we call that a failure rate. We feel it's fairly low, but this gives you an idea why we feel that this business model does work. Next slide. If we look at the cases that were settled in 2013, they averaged $6,400. Since inception, they averaged $6,500. Remember, we still have over 2,300 cases still open. Let's assume we take the lower of the two averages and say they settle for $6,400. That is almost $15 million of settlements out being in the process of being settled. Now, there's no guarantee that future cases are going to settle at the same rate. However, if we extrapolate this even further, we've already collected $8 million. And if we can collect another basically $15 million, that means there will be about $23 million that can be potentially collected from the money that we started this company with, which was less than $3 million in funding. So I truly believe this business model works from both the funding part and from the technology part. So how do we look ahead for future value? Well, we have to continue funding. People are saying, well, how can you do two different things at the same time? Well, in reality, the QVH helps us on the funding side, because what we're saying to the public there, we're going to provide transparency so everybody knows what our affiliated doctors do. So how do we develop future value? We have to increase the quality of the QVH technology. We've been spurred on by, now we've been at 2 major sales meetings. And we have to build in programs that will help, number one, bring additional affiliated doctors into the group, and number 2, collect on what's already in the process through this sometimes laborious process of getting cases settled. Next slide. So here's our goals for 2014. We have to pursue new and recurring revenues. We have to attract new doctor affiliates. And what we've started doing is we're bringing doctor groups to Houston to see live presentations during the clinics that we have here in Houston. We've had incredible success with that. We'll fly the doctor in, people that either we've met or know what the status in their city is. They come in for a day. They fly in, get here early in the morning, spend the day here, go through a clinic so they can understand everything from A to Z, how the medical people, the medical assistants will do the blood sugars, where they do the vital signs. They go in, they see actual procedures, and then they will see both the visual and the written operative consents. We let them talk to the patients later. They can ask questions, but we have found really good success by bringing doctors here. It's simpler, and they can see how the setup is and so forth. So we plan to increase the number of doctors coming to visit our sales center here, and which then leads me to the next. We need to add sales, marketing, management, and staff to increase the affiliated groups from the funding part and the QVH business that goes hand in hand with that. And we're now getting to the point that we're actively, we're looking for a CEO to take us to the next level. Next slide. I want to thank everybody for this presentation. We wanted to move this along quickly. The numbers, the 10-K was filed today. There was a press release today. And let's open it up to some questions.
Well, anybody has a question, use the box down in the lower right-hand corner of the, actually the lower portion of your console. Don't have, just a moment. Okay. All right, we have a few questions here. Well, there's a comment. I feel like 2014's management goals outlined on slide 14 are exactly the same as 2013's goal. What is going to be different about 2014 that's going to help us achieve any of these goals? How many
terrific question. Let me handle that.
Okay.
The first thing we're doing, and I alluded to it earlier, we're bringing doctor groups to Houston so they can touch, feel, and see the quad video in action. We probably should have started that in 2013, but remember, we were developing and advancing the Quad Halo. It's at the point now that we'll take it to shows, but I figure let's start bringing the doctors to Houston to see it. I think that's going to help tremendously. Number two, we've learned a lot at the shows that there's some additional things that we're working on, which we've already started. The UL underwriting, the FDA, it would be a Class 1, 510K exempt type of approach, and to get the TUV marks. So your UL and your TUV marks are things that we're working on now, and it was reinforced by the people we met both at RSNA in Chicago, plus we went to the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons in March in New Orleans. There is definite interest in third-party people to come and help us get this out into the market. I've been going to the AAOS for years and years, and they've never talked about video in the operative room. This year, they had courses on how to do videos in the operative room to document procedures and transparency. Nobody at the AAOS meeting, that's the orthopedic meeting, has anything like what we have. And ours is an IP protocol system, which is the best way to go with video documentation. So I really think 2014 is going to be much better than 2013.
Next question from Carl. How many new cases have you entered in Q1, and how are collections holding up?
That would be up to John Bergeron.
In the first quarter, we had approximately 25 new cases, and the collections are probably going to come in somewhere in the $600,000 range, I'm guessing. I'm sorry, I don't have that updated information for you.
And how are collections holding up?
Collections are holding up good. They remain strong. I think probably for the quarter we're going to have somewhere between $600,000 and $650,000.
Okay. And Mark Robbins asked, could you return to the previous slide so we could read it again? All right, Mark, for you, we'll go ahead and do that. I assume when you say previous slide, you mean this slide? I'll let it stay up there for about a minute or so, and we can move on to the next question. Mark, if you want to ask a question, go ahead and put it in the queue, but let me move on to the next question. Profits down year over year, revenues down year over year. What do you expect for changes for 2014?
John, why don't you handle that?
Well, as far as the revenue goes, we're concentrating on getting our settlement percentages up, which will increase the overall revenue. There are three major estimations that are made in this business. It's not like a conventional business. The first has to do, and this is what the auditors check, is the percentage of revenue that you can claim on each procedure. Currently, we do it at 48%. The receivables are posted at 48%. And this is based on the historical fact, the historical collection rate. The second item that we do for net income purposes is the allowance for doubtful accounts. While I was probably a little bit more conservative than what I originally intended to be, I did increase the allowance. I don't think the allowance will be increased as much in 2014 as it was in 2013. And finally, in 2014 will be the last year for a lot of these charges, stock-based compensation charges that we calculate using the Black-Scholes model. So 2014 will see the end of that. And I think also you'll see some other revenue streams that Dr. Donovan will discuss in a moment that will probably be a little bit quicker coming to fruition as far as the collection goes.
John, let me just add something. In the press release that we made today, on the second page, we talked about subsequent events. And we talked that in Florida, we have made a decision not to fund any more cases in Florida as of January 1st, 2014. There's been changes in the Florida law, and there's changes with our affiliate doctors. So coupling these two things, Q1 the revenue is going to be down because of those two issues. Plus, we had a decrease starting in Q4 in McAllen, Texas, due to some new competition that will continue through 2014. So our goal is to replace these areas with new cities, new doctor groups, and move on. So Q1 is going to be down, but we're trying to accelerate other areas for Q2 and beyond in 14.
Next question. Going to 2 demonstration shows typically means product sales. Why no effect to the top line? That's Mark Robbins again.
I didn't understand the question. Please repeat it.
Apparently he's saying that we've gone to 2 expos, and that typically means product sales. Why no effect to the top line?
Well, the top line effects on product sales is going to be when you get them into the third-party users. Now, as people know, you can go to shows, you can have excellent response with great follow-up. There's some additional things that we need to do, but I anticipate we're going to see some top-line revenue develop as a result of the quad video halo. We have to do it right with the right people, because this technology has value. And having gone to the 2 meetings, and we have several more coming up, it reinforces to me, both as a practicing physician and a businessman, the value of the transparency.
As a follow-up, what is the target revenue and profits for all of 2014?
Oh, we can't predict any profits or revenues at this point. I mean, Lord, we're just in the first queue.
What patient protection do you have on the QVH? What patient protection do you have on the QVH? I'm not quite sure what that means.
Well, there's several kinds of protection you're talking about. If you're talking about the radiation, we're coming up with an innovative method to record it on the DVD. Now, the amount of radiation is very low because it's just, the C-arm is not on for more than like a second at a time, and you just use it for location, placement, and documentation. You're not running a continuous C-arm imaging, so there's not that much radiation. Now, on the other side, what is the protection for the patient? You do both a visual and a written operative consent. And our patients are very, very pleased and actually have thanked us for doing the video, because from their perspective, they see two things. Number one, the doctor must be good or he wouldn't be videotaping. And number two, he wouldn't be doing anything wrong by having something videotaped. So the protection for the patient is both from the standpoint of actually doing the procedure, but the radiation is very minor.
Okay, last question. And this is from Carl. Did you say just 25 cases in the quarter, John?
I want to say it's probably more than that. I mean, quite frankly, you caught me, and I didn't have that information at hand. I've got a lot of other information. It's going to be more than that, but I'm not quite sure. I can't give you a number. If you will call and leave your number, I will call you with that exact information as soon as I get it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the end of the question and answer. Thank you very much for attending. Dr. Don, would you like to do a closing comment?
Well, I just want to thank everybody for being part of the call. We've had some long-term investors, and we've had some bumpy roads, but I think when we look at what has been invested and what we have collected, the business model works. And we've spent some extra time on the QVH, which we needed to do to bring it up to the level that the distributors want. And we now need to keep focusing on new affiliate doctors and the QVH. So we'll be having Q1 here in a month and a half. But I appreciate everybody being our investors and staying with us through these periods of time. But thank you very much.
And that's all for us. Goodbye, folks.